Jai Jinendra. Dear listeners, I am Dr. Kamini Gogri, currently working at SOAS University of London as a project consultant. And today I am going to talk about the Jaina tradition. As you must be knowing that Jainism is a Shramana tradition. What does the word Shramana mean? Shramana means self-effort. It comes from the word Shrama, the person who does self-effort. Now what is this self-effort for? The self-effort is for your own liberation or moksha. Now according to Jaina tradition or Jaina religion, Jaina Dharma, moksha means overcoming your passions. राग द्वेष से मुक्त होना, क्रोध मान माया से मुक्त होना is liberation. That is when your soul is completely purified and attains keval jnana or omniscience. It means all knowing. After that, whenever your soul and body get separate, that is when you don't have the cycle of birth and rebirth, death, rebirth. Now, within the Jain tradition, there is a tradition of 24 Tirthankaras. What is the term Tirthankara mean? Tirthankara means one who shows the path, one who has treaded the path, and one who has walked on the path, experienced himsa, violence, and who teaches us how to renounce violence, how to overcome your passions and attain the path of liberation. Now the Acharang Sutra, which is the very first Agama, talks about Lobha as precursor to Himsa. So whenever there is Lobha, greed, the person is by default does Himsa or violence, commits violence. You commit violence by your thought, by your word or by your deeds. So therefore, the Jaina religion talks, or the Tirthankaras who have walked on the path, tells the world one has to overcome greed and therefore one will overcome violence and lead a good life. So therefore, where is the problem? The problem is that we are in ignorance or mithyatva, where you identify your body as yourself. Because here, like milk and water, you don't identify what is milk, what is water. Therefore, soul also doesn't identify it as separate from the body. Therefore, it is deep ignorance, mithyatva. And the moment you attain that a little bit of, even a slight ray of light, that they are separate, and then you start working for your liberation. So that first state is mithyatva, and when you attain that state where you realize that there is a separation of body and soul, that is a fourth state. And then as you progress ahead, you attain the final liberation. So the Tirthankaras who renounce the world after realizing what is this greed, realizing violence, and therefore then appreciating the value of charity and the value of non-violence, they then attain omniscience, complete knowledge. They are called Sarvagna. They have attained Keval Jnana, and then they walk on the path. They undergo a lot of hardships, a lot of pain, lot of suffering, but because they have experienced the reality of the soul, the body and the path, they will never deviate from the path. And hence when you walk on the path, gradually a liberation is attained. And they are the spiritual teachers, they are the ford makers. Tirthankara means one who is a ford maker. And then people listen. When people listen, There is a group of people who renounce the world completely. They become ascetics, lay followers, the second group. So you have the fourfold Jain community, a community of ascetics, male and female, and a community of lay followers, male and female. So the Tirthankara establishes the Sangha. This is called the Sangha, a fourfold community, and the basis of the Sangha is the moral vows. The ascetics accept what is called the Mahavratas or the major vows, wherein they have to completely follow. They become munis or sadhvis. They completely give away worldly life, and they accept the Mahavratas or the major vratas, which are, of course, as we know, ahimsa or non-violence, speaking the truth, non-stealing, practicing complete celibacy, and non-possession. So the Jain ascetics give up everything, whatever they need. They ask for alms from the people only as per their need, and they collect only that much as per their daily needs, and then they go on from place to place, not getting attached to any place. Also, except for the 4 months of rainy season, they sit at one place. But otherwise, with minimum requirements, they survive. And those who cannot accept initiation, diksha, or do not become monks or nuns, sadhus or sadhvis, they accept the anuvratas. The mahavratas, which are accepted by the sadhu sadhvis in a lesser degree, the same are accepted by the lay followers. They are known as the shravaks and shravikas, meaning because you have to do business, because you have to cook, because you have to do other things, you accept the vow of non-violence, but because there is a limitation, so therefore it is anuvrat. Of course, you have to speak complete truth, but always there is a tinge of lies. So it happens. Non-stealing. Even if I take something from you in your absence, that is stealing. Even if you are my friend or relative, that is also regarded as stealing. So whenever I ask, I want something from you, I have to take a permission, even if you are my relative, you are my brother, sister, husband, wife, friend, etc. Celibacy means, for lay followers, having only one partner, staying committed to one partner, not having multiple partners. And in non-possession, you limit the possessions, like you will have only one house, or you will have only one car or 2 cars, or you will have only 50 dresses in a year, or you will only earn some amount of money in a year. Basically, it is curbing your greed or the sense of parigraha, of collecting more and more. So the Tirthankaras, when they give this message, few accept initiation, few accept the anuvratas. So major is Mahavratas, minor is anuvratas. But before that, there is a very important step. Before accepting the vows, there is a very important thing which they have to understand, or which all of us have to understand, and that is known as the path of 3 jewels. What is moksha? Samyak darshan, samyak jnana, and samyak charitra is moksha marga. This is explained in Tattvad Sutra chapter 1, Sutra 1. Samyak means either you say it is right or also it is appropriate. So, right faith, right knowledge, and right character. How to understand this? When you realize from deep ignorance, somehow either you hear some word or you read something, or sudden realization happens that no, I am doing something wrong, or something wrong is happening somewhere. At that point, when you realize that you have to change the life, that is Samyak Darshan, where a force, something happens in you. Either it is a self-realization at that point that I need to change my life, or you start by having faith on the path because your parents are following, because your teachers have told you, you follow the path. As you follow the path, you will realize that yes, this is the right path. So it goes either ways. Either you realize on your own, or you realize by some medium. The point is, because there is something not happening right in your life, You want to alter your life for the betterment. This is Samyak Darshan. Now, of course, as the Jain tradition would say, Samyak Darshan is having the faith on the principles of the above 5 principles which I have explained on the path of Jainism and not any other path. So this is another way. And what is Samyak Jnana? Right knowledge. The knowledge which you acquire through Naya and through Pramana. Now what does the word Naya and Pramana mean? Naya means a partial point of view, meaning we all have a certain way of looking at things, or initially you look at things in a certain way, in a particular way. Say initially you look at a piece of full cloth, then you go to, suppose you go to the each thread, then you go to the inner color of it, then you go to say every point of it. So there are 7 Nayas, starting with a general perspective and it goes to a very minute, subtle perspective. Okay, so from general to particular. So there are 7 Nayas. And from 7 angles you look at any event, you look at a person, you look at a thought, 7 ways of looking at things. This helps you to get your perspective in a moderation, so that we don't become biased, we don't become fanatics, we don't become rigid. So this is Naya. And what is Pramana? Pramana means a way in which you get the right knowledge or attain the right knowledge. It's a source of knowledge. How do we get knowledge? We get knowledge through 5 senses. That is perception, the first Praman. We get knowledge through listening, Shrutagnana. Second, inference, Anumana. We see something, later on we remember, and when some perception occurs, by the memory and the perception, we infer. Like when we see smoke on the hill, we infer there is fire on the hill. That is Anumana, inference. And the third is verbal testimony, Shrutagnana. By hearing the words of the wise people, gurus, teachers, parents, or reading the scriptures. So Jainism believes in 3 pramanas or source of knowledge. Perception, sensuous knowledge by all 5 senses. Second, by Anumana, inference. And third, by verbal testimony or Shrutagnana. Samyak Darshan, Samyak Jnana and Samyak Charitra. What is Samyak Charitra? So Jainism says, when your conduct, when you accept these 5 vows, initially we make deliberate attempts to follow these vows, to practice these vows. But later on, when your conduct becomes the character, that is the real Samyak Charitra. I'll give you one example from the life of Tirthankar Mahavira, who is the 24th Tirthankara, who was contemporary of Gautam Buddha, who lived approximately 2600 years ago in the region of you can say Magad or Rajgir, Lachwar. That's where Tirthankar Mahavira lived and moved around. In his life there is one incident. He was passing, he had to reach another village before the sunset, and it was almost getting dark. So the villagers of the village told him that it is dark, don't pass through this forest in the dark, there is a snake, very poisonous cobra, and if you happen to encounter him, you know he's always biting, and a small atom of his poison, even a minute drop of his poison is going to kill you. So because from one village to another village he has to pass, and there was this small forest in between. But Lord Mahavira, Tirthankar Mahavira, he knew, he had to overcome his karma, and then he willingly, with humility, humbleness, he went, and in the midway he encountered this snake. Now interesting, I'll tell you, the name of the snake is Chanda Kaushik. Now you will wonder, How the snake has a name? So Chandakaushik, the story goes that the Chandakaushik was the name of this snake in some previous birth where he was a human being. Now Mahavira Swami and Chandakaushik has some strange relationship from past births, where Chandakaushik's anger grew so much that in this birth he became a snake, and Mahavira's transformed himself, and this birth Lord Mahavira became a Tirthankar. So as soon as this snake saw this, for him he was just a normal human being. He bit on his toe. When he bit on his toe, a white color fluid started coming out of the toe, whereas the Jains believe the milk came out of the toe. And Lord Mahavira Swami told Chandakaushik, Buzza, meaning be peace, be at calm, Chandakaushik. That very moment he just stood still, and Lord Mahavir went away. Next day onwards, the villagers came. They just were surprised how he went. Safely he reached, and the villagers went and saw, and they started hitting the snake. They were red ants were biting him, and the story goes that he died after 3 days, and the snake attained one of the births in the godly or heavenly world. What does this story say? That from previous birth, this Chandakaushik had encountered so much of anger that he grew so big that he turned into a snake, and the anger of snake became that poison, venom. And Mahavir Swami's compassion, it became natural. Now when the milk flows from a person's body, when there is motherhood, when there is Vatsalya Bhav, so milk starts oozing from the body when there is so much of Vatsalya Bhav, innocent love, motherly love towards everybody. Those feelings, they are not passions, but they are such highest level of feelings. It can transform the person, the motherly love, compassion. It is not egoistic, it is not selfish. So this becomes your character, your innate nature. And Samyaktva, or right belief or right understanding, means the first you can say the first criteria of Samyak Darsha, Samyaktva is compassion, karuna. You don't have to force yourself to be compassionate. It becomes natural. So ahimsa, when Mahavira took the vow of complete ahimsa, that means he gave the vow of, that means he promised to follow Abhay Dan or Abhay Vachan. I am not going to kill anybody and everybody is my friend. But later on it becomes your character. It naturally flows. You don't have to think about it. But it is your natural way. So this is Samyak Charitra. So Samyak Jnan, Samyak Darshan, Samyak Charitra, all three in a way are one. It is about your attitude which transforms into your vows, and it becomes your way of your natural following. So all these three is moksha, liberation. So this is what the Tirthankaras have experienced and told the world, shared their experience with the world. So when you have this deep understanding, that's when you accept the vows and you start following. So in Jainism, gradually people started accepting, and then the religion grew. Now apart from its ethical part, of course, it has its own understanding of reality. Okay, reality meaning how do we perceive this world? What is the reality of the world? Today science has given us explanations, but when there was no science and technology to give us explanation, every philosophy has given us a way, a drishtikona to look at the world. So what does the Jaina tradition says? What is the reality of the world? So Jaina tradition talks about 6 dravyas. On one hand, you say Advaita Vedanta says everything is Brahman, or Buddhism says everything is only flux. But Jainism says that whatever you experience is permanence and change both. Meaning what? That your soul undergoes changes. It is same. It has qualities and modes. Meaning it is real. It exists. Soul is real. It exists. But in different births, it attains different level of knowledge. Soul is never devoid of knowledge in Jainism. That is why it is Chaitanya, consciousness. It is never devoid of knowledge. If it is devoid of knowledge, then it will be Jada Padartha or Pudgal or matter. But Jainism says soul has these 4 infinite qualities: Ananta Gnan, Ananta Darshan, Ananta Virya, Ananta Sukh. Infinite knowledge, infinite energy or infinite bliss and infinite intuition. These 4 are the qualities of the soul, and therefore it is soul or Jiva or Atma. Your degrees may change. I may have less knowledge, somebody has more knowledge, and as you go in different births, your knowledge also changes till you attain liberation, where you attain all these 4 infinites. Now, so this soul is one category. It undergoes, it is permanent, the qualities are permanent, but it has modes. So there is changes. In this birth I am a human being, I am a female. In next birth I may be, depending on my karma, I may attain a heavenly birth, or in hell, or animal, or some other human being with some other color, or some other religion, or some other place. So these changes happen because they are believed in the cycle of birth and rebirth and death. The second category is matter or Pudgal. The soul has this relationship with matter. Matter means your karmas by which you get your body, your covering on the soul, that is the karmas. And depending on your good or bad action, you get the there is the fine matter which is there in the universe comes and attaches you, and therefore your body is based on it, your lifespan is based on it, your family status, meaning which family you are born, is based on it, your degree of knowledge, all that is based on it. The third is the real of dharma astikaya, meaning the medium of movement. I am moving my hand, or anything momentum. There is a force which assists in the medium of momentum. Fourth, the medium of rest, the adharma astikaya. If I am stable, if things are stationary, it is because the force which helps to keep you stable. The fifth, space, akash. Akash is that which gives space to all other 5 dravyas, and sixth is the concept of time. Kala, by which you understand the changes, which you know there are changes, there are events, there are facts happening, and it is a medium of Kala. It is always moving. So according to Jainism, they believe in permanence and change, that all these 6 reals have their own qualities, and therefore they are that reals or dravya, and they have their modes. So, and they have infinite modes, like Jiva undergoes changes. The Pudgal, okay, Pudgal matter has Rupa, Rasa, Gandha, Varna, Sparsha. Every Pudgal, it's small, Anu, when you break down, that's the minutest particle. Jiva, as I told you, has a quality of these 4 infinites. Pudgal has all these 4 qualities. And Dharmastikaya, Adharmastikaya, Kala, Akasha, all these respective have their own qualities and modes. So according to Jain philosophy, the universe, I mean this whole cosmos, there are 6 dravyas. They are neither destroyed, they are neither created. The world is sustaining on its own. The cosmos, Loka, is sustaining on its own. There is no first question as when the Jiva and soul soul and consciousness or matter have come together. But yes, when you realize that they are together, your journey towards liberation starts. So, what is Jain philosophy at Shramana Marga? Then, how you realize what is liberation? Then its philosophy. And also another important aspects which Jainism talks about is, apart from ahimsa, aparigraha, there is a third very important principle which talks about, which is anekanta. Anekant means realizing and accepting that reality is multifaceted, it's multifold. That means everything, whatever you see, has various angles. One has to realize that there are many angles through which you understand things. It's not only one way. There are many ways. Like suppose you have a table in front of you. You will see table, the color of the table or the shape of the table from every different angle in a different way. If I am sitting here, one side I will see as horizontal, or I will see as vertical. I will see a particular shade of light on one part. I will see it is dark brown. I will say, somebody say no, it is light brown. So there are many shades of reality, and that is anekanta. So the Jaina system tradition stands on the three pillars of ahimsa, aparigraha and anekanta. So, and another important aspect which I would like to highlight here is Jainism, interestingly, talks about that when I told you the aspect that ascetics have complete renunciation, and they walk barefoot, they put cloth on their mouth. You must have seen Jain ascetics. And it talks about bare minimum, staying on bare minimum requirement. Because it believes that everything has soul. They talk about right from one sense soul to five senses soul with mind. Meaning, not only amoeba and virus and bacteria are souls, but earth itself, water itself, fire itself, plants itself, fruits itself, even air, they themselves are living beings, one sense soul. So whatever the body of fire is, that is the fire bodied jivas, like the natural lightning, whatever takes place, that is the fire bodied jivas. The earth, the gemstones, the diamonds and the golds and the metals, they themselves are living. So when we are digging the earth, we are actually killing those living beings. Water itself is living. So it is whatever water you see, that itself, the natural water which flows from rain or from springs or from, that itself is living water. That is the body of the water bodied jivas or souls. Plants itself are living. So underground plants, you say potato, onion, it is one body having many souls, and therefore in Jainism it is restricted, or it is told don't have root vegetables, because one vegetable has many souls in it. Because of their karmas, many jivas together have attained that one body. So causing least himsa, violence, that is why these things are prescribed. And interestingly, Jainism talks about this in a very detailed way. So therefore, when one has to attain liberation, one has to boil down to minimum himsa, minimum activity, meaning you only do activity when it is required, actions when it is required. Even unnecessarily, if you are sitting and you are just moving your leg, you are hurting the air body jivas. It's just an example, I mean, I'm giving you, which is reality. So we wave hands or you clap. These are the ways in which air body jivas are killed. So in this minute way, Jainism talks about don't commit himsa. Of course, one has to take care of everything. So apart from one sense soul, you have two senses, then three senses like snakes, then you have lions, tigers, and five senses is minus human beings. So this is how you have to respect nature, because it is living, and every human being on the earth, no matter where they are. Also Jainism, how does it talk about liberation? Bad action, good action, both are going to give you its result. If you have to attain liberation, you have to overcome both of them. Your account has to be nullified, and then only you will attain liberation. Meaning your soul has to be completely devoid of good action and bad action, and you have to only walk on the path of purity. Okay, so soul and Pudgal or matter, they both are combined. Currently I may reap good and bad fruits, both we all reap. But when I am walking on the path of liberation, of course I don't have to commit any bad action, but even when you are in the life of a normal lay follower, you ought to commit good actions. But when you are in the life of ascetics, what is your path? Only purification. You have to work on your purification. How do you attain purification? You do fasting, you eat one-time food, you do meditation, you serve the gurus. So there are 12 steps of purification, which is called nirjara. If I do some good action, there are fine particles around me. They'll come and attach me, and in some later time period, I will reap the fruits of good action. Similar with bad action. So either ways, the karma particles are going to attach to me, and I will reap the actions. So therefore, when they say that you have to accept these vows, which I have explained before. When you accept these vows and certain other vows also, there in total there are 12, you are closing the windows, meaning you are closing the doors of the karma particles coming and attaching you. But what of which is there inside you from your past births? For that, the 12 steps of purification are given, and I just mentioned to you about few of them, like fasting, eating one-time food, eating boiled food only, or doing meditation, remembering their gurus and serving the gurus, and then so on. So this is called the path of Nav Tattva. So it is Jiva, Ajiva, Papa, Punya, Samvar, Ashra, whether there is incoming of karma, Samvar, which is stoppage of your karma particles, Bandha, meaning already which the karma particles have come to you, they are attached to you, that is Bandha, Nirjara, where you have to purify your soul, and Moksha, that is liberation. So this is a path of Nav Tattvas. So important, these are the few important aspects which the Jain philosophy, Jain tradition, Jain religion talks about. And of course, as you all know, that Jainism in last 2600 years, it has passed, where Mahavira, the 24th Tirthankara, preached in Magad, in and around that modern areas of Bengal, Bihar, Orissa. Then Jainism went on to spread to Madhya Pradesh, to Gujarat, Rajasthan, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Orissa. These are the current places where Jainism is concentrated. So yes, before 24 Tirthankara, Mahavira, there are 23 Tirthankaras. It believes in cycle of time, and every half cycle has 24 Tirthankaras who show the path, one after the other. And historically speaking, Jainism believes in Rishabdev, Neminath, 22nd Tirthankara, 23rd Tirthankara, Pashwanath, and 24th Tirthankara, Mahavir Swami. But there are 20 others, and every half cycle, as I told you, there are 24. But the scriptures talk about 24 Tirthankaras. Nevertheless, we talk about both the sides. So, my dear friends, this was a glimpses into what Jaina tradition, philosophy is. And yes, so you have lot of sects and subsects in Jainism, and there are contemporary reform movements also in Jainism. Maybe we'll talk about it on another day. So till then, Jai Jinendra, Namaste.